So go ahead and find a comfortable spot for yourself, settle in, and you can ground, making that energy connection from the base of your spine to the very center of the earth. And as you ground, let those 2 points be connected. And let that grounding cord be as big around as your hips. Kind of like you're sitting on the trunk of a redwood tree and it goes all the way down to the center of the earth and is grounded. This is week 4 of working with energy tools and taking it out into the ever-changing world. And as we ground, we start to automatically let go of anything that isn't ours. It just is the greatest act of recycling you can imagine. So if you're holding on to a friend's energy or your mom's or your child, it automatically releases and goes back to them in neutral, gives them a little healing, as well as yourself. And when we ground, we get more connected. The spirit part of us comes in and anchors in our body, and our awareness increases. And today we're going to go through the chakras and just kind of clean them out to start with. So you can use your hand or you can just use your mind, whatever works best for you. And we're going to put it in front of the first chakra. And that's right where your body meets the chair. This first chakra is about survival, taking care of yourself, having enough to eat, a house, the right clothes, the right food, whatever it is for you. Sometimes our survival needs are easily met. Other times there's challenges. You lose your job, obviously that would be a challenging time until you find another one. So in that first chakra, we're just going to imagine pulling out anything that makes taking care of ourselves difficult, any effort. And you can just imagine your hand has a little magnet in it, and it just pulls that energy out of the first chakra. And you can release it right down that grounding cord. So that taking care of yourself becomes easier. Being able to find the right amount of time for yourself, the right foods, time to cook, time to pick up what you really want and need. And you might just ask yourself, what color would feel good in that first chakra? Energy isn't fussy. You can pick any color you want. And then moving up to the second chakra, 2 fingers below the navel. And the second chakra is all the feelings and emotions. And many times we'll pick up somebody else's emotion. And anything that runs through your body, the body kind of figures it's there, it's your emotion. Not necessarily true. Try this with a 3-year-old and you'll get it. If they come in and they're mad, all of a sudden you can match them really easily and be frustrated yourself. So just with your hand again, put it in front of that second chakra and pull out any effort in having your own feelings, releasing anybody else's. Just pull that energy out and toss it down your grounding cord. And energy is like water, it just moves. It doesn't take any effort in doing it. So it's just easy to pull things out and let them go. One good thing is if you find yourself in an emotion that you can't stop being in, your own emotions are like light switches. You can turn them off and on. So if you get angry and you can't stop being angry, there's a great indicator that it's not your emotion. Your own motion you can turn off and on. So you could put up a little gauge, 0 to 100, and just see how much anger's in that second chakra, and say it's 80%. And then ask how much of that 80 is actually yours, and it might be 10. 10's pretty easy to handle, but 80's kind of hard. So you just ground out that which isn't yours. And then your own, you can get curious about. What is that anger telling you? Many times it's saying that a boundary has been crossed. You're giving more than you want to give. You're put in a position where you don't feel like you have the freedom to make a choice, whatever it is. But usually anger's great at telling you about boundaries. So just take a deep breath and let go of any energy not yours in that second chakra. And then ask, what color would feel good in the second chakra? What color would help you own your own emotions? And fill that second chakra with that color. And breathe. We're climbing up the ladder here. You can go up to the third chakra in your solar plexus area. And the third chakra is your chi, the amount of energy flowing in the body, how you create and find your way in the world. And just say hello to that third chakra. Any of the firstborn, if you're firstborn in your family, you tend to work on that first chakra your whole life, working on your own power, your own independence, your own way. So firstborns, make friends with that third chakra. It's going to be your constant companion. And really looking at if there's any tension in that solar plexus area, or if you have a lot of digestive stuff, there's a hint. And again, take out of the third chakra any energy that's not yours, any energy that causes effort and being able to own your own power, just releasing it down that grounding cord. And mild amusement, because sometimes it's not funny. And breathe. And to find a color that you like to put in that third chakra. What would help you go with the flow in your life to really be connected and really enjoy being you? And just fill that third chakra with your own energy. Then we're going to come up to the heart chakra. In the heart area, you can put your hand there with a little magnet and pull out any energy that makes it hard for you to love yourself. Any effort. And thinking you're the sweetest thing on the planet. Sometimes it's easier to love someone else than to love yourself, but it's great to practice. It's like a seesaw. You need this balance. Loving you, giving to yourself, loving others and giving to them. And they need to balance. Oh, they'll go up and down, but basically you need both sides. Here's another hint. The ones who take the longest to die are the ones who have a hard time receiving, because they're kind of pushing against energy. It's like, hey, I'm not good enough. I got to finish what I'm doing. So again, great time to practice before you ever get close to dying. You want to have as much ease giving as you do receiving. And so take out any effort in giving as well. Cleaning out both sides of this fourth chakra. And a giver loves to give, but they start to get annoyed when their own energy runs low. So you want to always keep your energy full and give what's extra. Kind of like, the typical airline scenario, put your own oxygen mask on first and then help somebody else. Very true. So you can't really be mad at someone you have given too much to because it was you who did it. That's where the mild amusement comes in. Can you forgive yourself? Can you let it go? Cleaning any effort out of that fourth chakra, that heart chakra. And filling that with a color that feels good to you. What's a heart color? A color of self-love. And take a big deep breath. Excellent. And we're going to move up to the fifth chakra, the throat. You can put your hand in front of that fifth chakra and just pull energy out. Anything that makes it hard for you to communicate your truth. When we're teaching people to read clairvoyantly, it's really easy to see the energy. It's harder to say what you see because you're afraid you're going to be wrong. So you see much more than you actually ever say. So just take a minute and clean out any effort in your communication space. Any place you got in trouble for saying the wrong thing, or if the teachers in school wanted you to be still and not talk so much. Just clean out any old energy. Pull it out, throw it down that grounding cord. Just giving to yourself. This is also the seat of creativity, where energy flows up the body and then out the arms and down the arms into the hands. And so a lot of this creative energy comes out this fifth chakra. So you can clean out your arm channels and your hands that release it. And then ask yourself, what color would you like to have in your fifth chakra? How would you like to communicate? What abilities would you like to have? Put them in there. And breathe. And then we'll flow up to the sixth chakra between the brows. This is your clairvoyance, your ability to see spirit. Whether you're in trance or out of trance, in meditation or out of meditation. We see all the time, and really it isn't hard. If you've ever watched somebody having dinner or in an airport and you're just watching people, you start to kind of make up little stories in your mind about maybe what they're experiencing. And I bet you if you ask them, maybe 90% of the time you'd be right. It's kind of amazing. So taking out any effort in seeing clairvoyantly. I love teaching the clairvoyant class and helping the beginners find their certainty in reading because it feels like such a miracle to see something and the other person saying, "Oh yeah, that's right. That's how I am." And they're like, "Really? I did it right?" So it's kind of cute. Once you get your certainty, then boy, you never look back. But getting it's a little bit of a challenge in the beginning. So cleaning out any effort and seeing energy and just deciding what would be safe for you to see. Some people say, "Hey, I don't see spirits." And it's like, well, maybe you didn't ask to. That might be something you'd like to incorporate, or it might be something you don't really care about. And again, fill that energy in that sixth chakra with a color that works for you. And in your mind's eye, if you have your eyes closed, just imagine seeing a beautiful rose out in front of you. And just notice what color it is. And then you can zoom in and kind of look down the stem and see if there's any leaves on the stem. And you can either pull your camera eye back. You could look in the center of the rose and see those little pistils and stamens in the very center. You might notice if your rose is fully open or if it's a bud. And once you've learned everything you want from it, then you can put a soap bubble around it and pop it, letting it disappear back into energy. And just validate yourself for whatever you saw. Some people see energy, some people just know it's there. Both ways work. One isn't better than the other. And they kind of tend to go in tandem. But lots of times people are better at one side than the other. Really doesn't matter. And find a color for that sixth chakra that would feel good for you. And then let's go to the crown chakra, the very top of the head. And this is all the information you've learned from every lifetime you've been in. Because as a spirit, you're eternal. And you learn so much. It's kind of like each of these lifetimes that we're in is like a book. And you know, if you pick a book off the shelf and you read it, it's like, wow, that was the most incredible book I've ever read. And you love it. You keep that one out in your bookshelf and then you read this other one and it's totally different. Like, wow, that was amazing. And you have these series of different lifetimes, different books. And as a spirit, you're learning, what do you want to be for eternity? And sometimes you got to plan a lifetime to figure out what it is you want to be. So give yourself a break. You've had 50 to 100 moms and dads, different cities you've been in, different religions, different colors, different creeds. We're rarely the same thing more than once or twice. So allow yourself to really open up and enjoy this information that you've collected. Because when you lose this body that you're in, the information that you've learned this lifetime goes with you. So you are the sum total of all these lifetimes, all this awareness. Take a deep breath and find a color that you'd like to have for that crown chakra. How would you like to validate all that you know? And there's an interesting thing in the crown. If you can think of what they used to teach in typing, I'm an ancient person, so, back in the old days, they had margin tabs. So these were little like boundaries that the text of the story or whatever you were writing would be inside. And you have tabs in the crown chakra. How much information are you allowed to have? So there's a little block on one side and a little block on the other. So, and usually these blocks are put in by family to protect you. When you're 7 or 8, some information isn't appropriate yet. When you're a teenager, you want to find out everything. And they'll let you, but that you just can't act on it. And then when you're an adult, you want to remember it all. So you can start to take out those markers if you like. And let that energy flow through the crown, owning your information, all the things you've learned, giving it a color, and deciding you're going to enjoy it. Take a deep breath. And then, if you would, imagine a huge gold sun, twice as big as your whole body, sitting on the very top of your head. And as we've cleaned out all this information that didn't work for us, we're going to fill in with what we do want. So in that gold sun, maybe put a color or two. Put whatever you'd like for your next step in life. Might be more awareness, a new job, more friends. It might be just feeling more peaceful inside, loving yourself. Energy isn't fussy. You can have anything you want. But put that energy in that sun. And when you're ready, pop it, unzip it, whoosh, let it fall all the way through, filling the body up from head to toe. Giving back to yourself. We give so much out to the world. And sometimes we forget to sit down and just give to ourselves. And moms, that's such a great lesson to teach your kids how to take that time. And it's just as important to give to you as it is to them. When they see you doing that, that really gives them permission. I hail all moms on the planet. I think it's one of the most amazing careers you can have, being a mom. We don't give ourselves quite enough credit. So put an extra helping of gold in there for yourself. Fill that body all the way up. And just enjoy being you. This is a great thing to do when the world feels crazy around you. You have this our own space is like the eye in a hurricane. It's like the calm, home plate you can come to, home base. So while there's chaos around you in the world, you can always go inward. And inside yourself lives this space of calm that you as a spirit create, your haven. So when in doubt, ground and go inward. Now let's take a little bit of a look at the world. World's done a little changing this week. And just notice what concepts you hold of the world. How do you see the world? Is it safe? Is it scary? Overwhelming? What is your basic programming about how the world is, how you view it? And I know it changes dramatically from week to week, but kind of get a hit of how you tend to think of things. Are you more a pessimist, an optimist, or somewhere more neutral? I don't think one's better than the other. I think the optimist has more fun. They enjoy the journey more. But hey, we all get there. And how do you want the world to experience you? Because we teach people how to treat us by how we treat ourselves. So it's interesting. How do you want to be held in the world? How do you hold yourself? And just notice that. There's no wrong or right way, but get curious. How do you think people, your friends, see you? People at work, how do they experience you? How do you show up in life? And just take a deep breath. And notice for yourself, what are the things that you like the most about yourself? What would you say are your strengths in this lifetime? It might be integrity, it might be honesty, the ability to say, hey, if you made a mistake, to own it. It might be being able to respond. It might be neutrality, being able to just hold a place of neutrality, not judging much around you. All different levels of awareness we need in the world. It's an interesting thing. I'm working with two of my staff to become the directors of the center. I'm going to retire one day. And it's something that you have to learn. How do you evaluate yourself and how do you evaluate someone else? And it's a great level of awareness. Being able to see yourself honestly as a spirit and being able to look at someone else and see what are their greatest strengths. One of the thing that's so much fun about being a director is like finding the right job for the right person and really validating what they do, because every job there makes such a huge difference. In our center, there's 22 staff. And so each person we need in order to make the whole thing go. It's wonderful. And some people are better at one thing than another. So really having that awareness, and it's the same when you go out into the world. What skills do you take that help change the world in a positive way? We all have things we contribute. I'm going to sneeze. Okay, sorry about that. I guess I'm a sneezer tonight. But what do you contribute when you go in the world? What is it that you stand for? What do you believe in? And how do you show up making a difference in the world around you? I think this is one of the best things. We talked a little bit about Power versus Force, great book, and how just being in certain emotional states helps change the world. I have to say, in our country, we've just had a presidential shift, and there's a level of tension that's been dissolved by that shift. So it is like everybody's taking a deep breath and letting it go, no matter what candidate you were for. Just releasing the tension was great. The other thing that's interesting is if you look at the names of all of the teachers, all of the guides that maybe are on the other side. I look at my grandmother, I would not be who I am today without my grandmother. My mother was killed when I was young, and my grandmother really was the central force in my life. And she was amazing. She was 68 when she came to stay with us, and there were 5 of us kids under 6. And my picture of her, what I remember, is just unconditional love. She sat on the floor and played with us, and just amazing woman, infinitely patient. And to me, she was like one of the strongest influences. And we all have them. Somebody said hello to us and made a difference in our life. And if they're on the other side, your guides, the angels that you work with, those who have gone before, your ancestors, you can ask them to give you a little healing, to help you. And anytime I'm making a hard decision or a choice, I try to come from that place of neutrality and compassion because we all need it. All of us are dancing as fast as we can. And we all make mistakes. We're all growing. We're all learning. The world isn't perfect, and neither are we. But I think of her as kind of my touchstone of what would she do? And try and respond in the same way. Before I hire a teacher, I always look at how do they treat their family, because it tells you a lot about how they're going to treat you and other staff members. So it's interesting looking at how people relate and what they can contribute to the planet. And all of us have different gifts. I don't think one's better than another. I think they're just different. And so really finding a spot for a person that's just the right vibration for them, where they can shine and really show what they came to do this lifetime. So lots of times when you need a little healing, you can ask one of those that have gone on before you to help you. You give them one, let them give you one. So working with spirit is another great way to heal yourself as the world changes around you. Go ahead and take a deep breath. And just recognize that you are always surrounded by those there's always going to be somebody who's more advanced than you. There's always going to be someone who's just waking up. And so really allowing yourself to reach out and let those who are more advanced help pull you up. Just like you reach back for those that are just waking up and help them. We're all in it together. We're all walking each other home. It's like working together is such a great metaphor for where we are as spirits. So never be afraid to ask for help, because it comes in the best forms. And the same, if you see someone struggling, never be afraid to give them a lift up either, because sometimes that's where joy comes from, is being able to help someone figure it out, to see their own truth. Not so much yours, because that's for you, but help them find their truth and then watch them shine. It's a great way to help each other on this path home. So take another deep breath and just look for yourself and see who holds space for you, who is in that group that's more advanced. They might all be in spirit form, or they might be like my grandmother, bless her little heart, really helped me. She's way on the other side, but I talk to her all the time. She's great. But look and see who helps you. And get a sense of their energy. Tune into it. Give them a hello. You can do it from the top of your crown, just sending a gold hello. Let them know you're growing and you're in this ever-changing world that's just changing so fast. And ask them to help you take that step. And just allow them to give you a little healing. And then do another like little bubble and look at the group who are under you, who are coming up, who are just waking up spiritually, who are finding their truth, their awareness. And say hello to that group, even if you don't know who they are, whether they're in body or in spirit. Say hello to them. And just offer them a little gold light. Anytime you're worried about someone or you want to help someone, if you worry, you kind of validate the invalidation in them. Where if you surround them in gold light, you allow them to rise up and be the best that they can be. And you have to ask yourself, which would you rather have? So again, if you're worried about a partner or your child, a mate, validate the light in them, that they can be the best version of themselves that they can be. They can have the health that they want. And you know, at some point, all of us are going to ditch these bodies and go home. So sometimes allowing someone, giving them that space to decide when they're ready, not necessarily when we're ready for them to be ready, is a great gift. And breathe. And just allowing yourselves to have both sides. Everything on earth is a dichotomy. And I think the balance is in the middle. And when you can find that balance, then you can have both sides. You can choose what reality you want to create. When we get resistant, then we're stuck with one side because we can't move through it. We're kind of planting our feet in the earth and resisting, holding on. When neutrality has that ability to flow back and forth. Okay. And just decide that you're going to give yourself a little bit more room to have more neutrality, more compassion, more flexibility, things that you want more of, that you're ready to incorporate in your life. And as you do that, as you really learn to let yourself receive, then it lets you walk with grace in the world. And that's quite a gift because the world isn't always kind, but we can be kind in the midst of it. That's one ability you never have to lose. You carry that light very brightly inside you, and it changes the planet as you walk. being able to really love who you are and to share that with those around you. Giving yourself that compassion. Okay, take another deep breath. Just validating what you've discovered tonight. It's kind of fun to come and play and look at different topics. Give yourself that room to see what you see when you look.